Hello, it's Chrispy Patty, and I have a book titled Beginnings, How Families Come to Be by Virginia Kroll and illustrated by, excuse my pronunciation, by Stacy Schuett. All right, look at that. Cute little couple stuffies in the crib there. It says, welcome, baby, and there's a family outside. All right, let's turn the page and see what the story's all about. And it looks like the first story is about Reuben. Tell me, Mommy, about how I began. Daddy and I were full of love. After we were married for a while, I became pregnant, and I was full of you. You grew inside, giving me a basketball belly. And just when I looked like I could really bounce, you came right out of me, kicking and squalling, wrinkled and bawling, the most beautiful thing I ever did see. Daddy and I sputtered and sparkled with joy, like fireworks, even brighter. We told the world with letters and wore out the phone. It's a boy, we cried over and over, and it was new each time we said it. Daddy handed out blue bubblegum cigars at work and put on a bouquet of balloons on the porch rail the day we brought you home from the hospital. We named you Reuben because it means, behold, a son. And we're a family forever and ever. Forever and ever, a family. Catherine Grace. Tell me, Mama, the story of me. Our hearts, Dad's and mine, each had an empty place that only a child could fill. So we set out to find you. First, we made a call to FIA. That stands for Families Interested in Adoption. Yes, it does. They put us in touch with an adoption worker. We made 100 more phone calls, answered 1 million questions, and filled out a zillion papers. But we didn't mind, because in time, our agency worker called to say that a little girl had been born. Her mother couldn't take care of her, and she wanted her to have parents who could. So a silver plane carried me halfway around the world. Yes, over fields where farmers were picking crops, over boats where fishermen netted fish from the sea. And you waited a long time. Oh, the waiting seemed like forever. We wore out a path in the airport floor. Finally, your plane touched down. There you were, pink and rosy, asleep and cozy in your chaperone's arms. I didn't wake up. Wait, that part is coming. Your Korean name was Mi Kyung, which means beauty and brightness. We silently thanked your other mother, who had named you for what she knew you'd become. We thought it might be easier for you to have an American name when you came to live in America, so we named you after both your new American grandmothers. I whispered, Catherine Grace, and that was the moment you opened your eyes and saw me. Daddy touched your hand, and you gripped his finger tightly. Aww. Did your empty places get filled up, Mama? Right to the brim and overflowing ever since. And now you're going to get a brother from me, all the way from South America. Give this to him, okay? But honey, that's Ollie Orangutan. Your favorite stuffed toy. Are you sure? I'm sure, and when he gets here, Mama, can I tell him the story of how we got to be brother and sister? Certainly, Catherine Grace. Right from the beginning. Aww. Wanting to share her orangutan. Mark, Daddy, when I was first born, you were just my Uncle Joe, right? Yes, until you were 4 months old. I couldn't talk yet, could I? No, but you could smile, a big, beautiful, toothless grin, and your whole body smiled when your mouth did. That was the last thing your mommy, my sister saw before she died. It made her very happy. And you adopted me right after that because you promised, right? Because I wanted you and I promised, right? Your mommy wasn't married and she was very sick. She wanted to make sure you stayed in our family, so she asked me if I'd raise you like my own. I said yes, of course I would. And that's how I turned you into a single father. You certainly did. I'm glad Gram and Gramps were around to help me out at first. I didn't know a thing about babies. I guess you could say we've grown up together. You know what? I wish I could remember my mommy, your sister. Well, know what, Mark? I remember her very well. After all, she and I grew up together. Will you tell me all about her again? Yes, indeed I will. Go get the photo album from the bookcase, bottom shelf, and we'll begin again. Olivia, tell me, Mom, how you became my now mom. A student at my school was going to have a baby. Mary and her boyfriend decided that they were too young to care for a baby properly. They felt that someone who was older and ready, someone who wanted a child more than anything, should adopt their baby. They wanted to choose your new mother themselves. So they picked you? Yes, lucky me. And it didn't matter to them that you weren't married, that you'd be a single parent. That you'd be a single parent? Not a bit. What mattered was that I was a loving, caring person. So we made the arrangements, and we all signed papers, and then the time came for you to be born. I got the phone call from Mary's mother just as I came in the door from work. I was supposed to go to dinner with Aunt Anne to celebrate my birthday, but I left a message for her and dashed right back out and drove to the hospital. I held Mary's hand, your birth mother's hand, and we both cried together when you came out of her body. Suddenly I had a daughter whose birthday was the same day as mine. Your birth parents spent the next day loving you and saying goodbye. Then I came back to pick you up. I dressed you in a rosebud sleeper and matching bunting. When we got home, our family and friends were here with food and gifts and a huge welcome home Olivia sign. Tell me the part about my name again. I had asked Mary what she would name you, and she said, Oliver if the baby's a boy, and Olivia if it's a girl. I kept the name she chose for you, and then my birth mother moved to California. But you still keep in touch and tell her about me, right? And thank her every day of my life. Habib or Habib? Dad, tell me how we got to be father and son. Sure, your mother and I were celebrating Kwanzaa. Which night? The 5th night, Nia. That means purpose. Now hang on a second. Who's telling this story anyway? As I was saying, we had just celebrated Nia, and were leaving the building when we ran into the Davises and their newborn girl Samantha. Your mother oohed and ahed so over that child. Just Mommy? Well, I've got to admit, I did my share too. So, on the way home, you said to Mommy, speaking of purpose, and that's exactly what I said, and right then and there we decided that it was time. And you didn't change your minds? Are you kidding? Mommy went to Dr. Lewis the very next week and told her how we felt about adopting. Turned out that Dr. Lewis had another patient who was pregnant, who felt she was too young and too poor to keep her child. So she asked Dr. Lewis to help find her a family for her baby when it was born. Once we found that out, the waiting was hard. But it was only 6 months, right, Dad? Yes, only 6 months till we got the most important news of our lives. The news that I was born. Exactly. And when you were lucky to find me so fast, because some people wait years and years for a child. I guess that proves we were made for each other, huh? Uh-huh. And you and Mommy named me, Habib, because it means, what does it mean again, Dad? It means beloved. Absolutely beloved. Nicole, tell me, Daddy, about how you got your girl. Even though we had 3 children, we knew our family wasn't finished yet because it was waiting for just the right person. Yes, we searched through the blue books where children who need homes are pictured. When we saw you, we looked into adopting you. We found out that you had lived with your birth mother for 2 months. Then 2 foster families cared for you after that. We decided that our home would be your only home from then on. For always, period. But I was shy at first, remember? How could I forget? The first time we visited, we left without even really seeing you. You held Ellie, your elephant toy, in front of your face the entire time. But I got over that finally. And then the big day came. We picked you up, all of us, in our new van, loaded you and your wheelchair on, and started back on the long ride home. You had 3 sons. Now, me. I kept thinking how beautiful black braids went with blonde buzz cuts as I looked at all my children. Pretty soon your brown eyes hooked into your brother's blue, and you all began bickering over whose ice cream cone was biggest and whose singing voice was best, as brothers and sisters do. You came to us already named Nicole, already talking and done with kindergarten, your baby days behind you. We had a lot of catching up to do, but that was all right because we'd have a lot of time together. We've got forever, right, Daddy? Right, and that's the end of the story. Oh, Nicole, that's just the beginning. And that's the end of the Beginnings book. And I hope you enjoyed this. Until next time, keep reading, keep going on adventures. And if you enjoyed this book, please support the cause and give it a thumbs up or share it with others. Thank you very much. Bye.